Let's start. Firstly, one day came for it. Right. Today we are planning to start this consolidation. Last week we had a brief discussion about that. What's the basis, controlling power, efficiency, and all. Today we are jumping to calculations and basic theory. Very important session, right? You know that missing consolidation parts may be very critical. I am expecting to do the assignment as well today. So we'll see. We did this assignment for 3 areas we completed. We did assignment, right? This investment property, tangible asset, and we did that assignment, right? Okay. What we are doing is normally we are completing something, that particular area, we are doing assignment, right? Each and every area. And then we are moving to the group assignment on this analytics, right? I haven't sent it yet. Today I will share that. Today or tomorrow I will share that group assignment. You're ready for the type of industry analysis by using financial statement analysis, right? So that's the expectation, right? I have not decided to do an individual type of a large assignment, right? Because we are doing a group assignment and continuous individual assignment. We don't have an individual type of a presentation or assignment type, separate assignment, right? We are having Group assignment plus individual assignments. If you want, let me know. I can do something individual, type of a individual report or individual presentation. Because it's a very lengthy syllabus. That's why I'm not planning to do that individual assignment. Right? Individually, we are evaluating through assignments and attendance will be evaluated. All these things. Yeah. Focusing. Yeah, the stage that the එයාන දැකලා මට මෙයා මතක් වුණා. එක දවසක් හිටියා. First time දැනෙච්ච සාර. එක දවසේ දාලා. අවුරුද්දක් නැහැ. දැන් අදාපු කට්ටිය you attend to these lectures, another 3 lectures, right? Minimum. නැත්තම් ඔයා consolidation සෑහෙන්න මිස් කරලා යනවා. Very important to continuing for the lectures for next 3 lectures. Particular standard එක miss වුණොත් ඊළඟ එකෙන් අල්ලගන්න පුළුවන්. ඒකේ standard එක miss වෙන්නේ. If you are missing something from consolidation, you are missing all consolidation areas. Otherwise, you can't catch that from the mid. You will be very, messy once you are jumping at the midpoint. It is not practical. Part of console join. You should have a proper understanding what we are doing, what are the adjustments, and step by step we are learning this. First we are learning the basic background, then we are learning separate adjustments, then what are the implications, and then moving out to the big questions. Then practicing and facing to the exam. That is the whole process. Through that process, if you are missing something in between, once you have jump into the exam type of questions, you will be stuck. You are not familiar with this, whatever the area we are completing. So that's the basic understanding you should have. Without further ado, we'll go to the content. Yes. What we discussed last week. Basically, we discussed about this consolidation areas, right? Consolidation. So this we are having it's a process. We are having what? Consolidated financial statements. Consolidated financial statement. Right? Consolidated financial statement consists of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Let it get first. Okay. What is that? Consolidated statement of income. What filling the banks consolidated statement of financial position. Right. Consolidated equity statement. Likewise, you are having right. For this, we should have a group of companies. Right? Group of companies. Group of companies. What do you mean by that? Parent, one or more subsidiaries. Right? One or more subsidiaries. One or more subsidiaries. Right? Doing consolidation, do that, you should have a group of companies. Group of companies having parent, subsidiaries, maybe subsidiaries, right? Subsidiaries, parent. Okay, having this type of a setup, who is going to do the consolidation? Parent should do the consolidation. Parent company should do the consolidation. Here we have a learning point. So it's a group of company at which time parent can get exception to do the not to do the group accounts, consolidated accounts. What do you mean by that? It's a group of company, but in standard there's an exception not to do the consolidated financial statement. ඊළඟ ප්‍රශ්නේ මොකද්ද? හැම group එකක්ම console කරන්න ඕනද නැද්ද? මෙතන ලියුවේ මොකද්ද? Group of company consolidate කරන්න ඕන කියලා. Group එකක් නම් if you are having a group of company, we should do the consolidation. Output is consolidated financial statement. Before we are coming to here, we are having some other question. What is that? If you are having a group of company, each and every company, do they need to do consolidated financial statement? Answer is no. Right? Answer is no. Each and every company no need to do the consolidated financial statement. We are having exemption. Right? Exemption. So to get that exemption, we need to satisfy four criteria. Four criteria. Right? You see that four criteria. It is statically unfit. So then here we have four criteria, right? Four criteria. The investor parent must present consolidated financial statement, except where all of following apply. Are you getting this content? It is a parent company. It should do the consolidated financial statement. If this all criteria has not been fulfilled, we want to not to do, if you want not to do the consolidated financial statement, they need to comply with this 4 criteria, not only 1 criteria. So then what we are going to address here, question is, each and every parent company, are they supposed to do consolidation? No. If they are achieving these 4 criteria, they don't want to do consolidation, though it's a parent entity. Right? This is very important area. This can be tested in the exam 2 times in the same exam. And this is very important. Right? Each and every exam, I want to test this. Please remember this. What is that? It is a wholly owned subsidiary, or it's a partially owned subsidiary, and its owners have been informed and not object to parent not presenting consolidated financial statements. Right? And this one, 4th one is very important. The ultimate or any immediate parent produces SLFRS consolidated financial statements available for public use. That's very important. 4th one. What is that? It's immediate parent to do consolidated financial statement for available for public use. Available for public use. Here we have a parent entity. They are having subsidiaries like this. Right? One subsidiary having another 3 subsidiaries. Maybe this A, B, C, D, P, Q, R. Question is what? Do this C and A, both is required to do consolidation. Why? C is also a group. It's another family. Why? It's having another 3 subsidiaries. Question is, do they need to do a separate consolidation? For that, what we need to do? This C should be a listed entity. It should be produced audited financial statement. Ultimate parent should produce consolidated financial statements. Right? If it is so, this parent no need to produce consolidated financial statement. Right? Not only that, what else? See, here we are having the ownership 80%. Ownership 80%. They are having another 20% ownership with whom? NCI, non-controlling interest. To A, how much? 80. To others, 20. Ownership of the parent 80, 20 others. Right? They are not going to do consolidation now. But this 20% owners are requesting to do the consolidation. That's about what? First one. Right? What is that? Self or wholly owned subsidiary, or it's a partially owned subsidiary, and its other owners have been informed and do not object to parent not presenting consolidated financial statement. Right? Do not object. Do not object. There's no confusion. There's no rejection. There's no argument from them. There's no separate request to do the consolidation. Right? The 2 things under control, right? Other thing is what? If debt and equity instruments are not traded in the public market, this not be a listed entity. It's not be a listed entity. Debt or equity. Make a listed company. Okay? Third one, they are not planning to be a listed entity. What is this? It did not file or no, is in the process of filing its financial statement for the purpose of issuing any class of financial instrument in public market. What is that? They are not supposed to go public. Right? If it is so, this entity can't be a listed entity, or they can't be a listed entity in future. Future means immediate future. They are not planning to issue any instrument in the public market. I hope it is clear. Again, I am repeating myself. Here we are having, People's Bank. People's Bank, right? People's Bank. අපි එතනින් පටන් ගමු. People's Bank post office මෙතනින් ඇස්තු මතක නැහැ. People's Bank, right? Owner, government, right? It's having another entity. What is that? People's leasing. People's leasing. It is also, it's a PLC. It is not a PLC. Right? People's leasing having another subsidiary. What is that? People's insurance. Insurance PLC. Right? People's insurance having another subsidiary. Can't remember it. Right? Question is, people's leasing having another subsidiaries. People property development. Havelock property. Likewise, they are having subsidiaries. People's Bank also having some other subsidiaries as well. Question is, do this People's Bank to do the consolidation? Can People's Leasing skip that consolidation because its parent doing it? Can People's Insurance skip it because his two parents, immediate parents and the ultimate parents, both are doing consolidation? Because of that, can People's Insurance skip it? And why? It is again a listed entity. If you are having a listed entity, that entity must produce consolidated financial, whether his parent or ultimate parents providing. They don't know to consider it. Are you getting me? Right? Because of that, People's Insurance reporting to People's Leasing. People's Leasing reporting to People's Bank for consolidation. All three companies, all three groups producing separate consolidated financial statements. එතකොට මෙයා තමයි ලොකුම group එක console කරන්නේ. People's Leasing fully console කරනවා මෙයා. එතකොට මේකත් ඇතුළට ගිහින් උදේ. මේ console එකත් මේක ඇතුළේ තියෙනවා. මෙයා People's Leasing consolidated figures ආයි console කරනවා. Remember that. To get that exemption, these four criteria should be satisfied. Not only one, keep remember that. 4 criteria should be satisfied. It can't be a listed entity. Parent should do the consolidation, right? Parent or ultimate parent, right? But here, මෙතන තිබුණොත් private limited එක. People's Insurance කියන. ඒකේ subsidiaries තුනක් තියෙනවා. මෙතන private limited එකකට පුළුවන් exemption එකක් ගන්න. They can get exemption. Why? Its parent doing consolidation, it is publicly available. There's no request from the other shareholders. And they are not planning to issue any public credit investment in near future. If it is so, they can get the exemption. It means the getting this 4 exemption may be really difficult, right? Obviously, we are having a group. We need to do the consolidation. Keep remember these 4 items. Do you want any notes? Put that consolidated financial statement. Put that consolidation. Consolidation. Yeah. The process of preparing consolidated financial statements. Consolidated financial statement. Is called as consolidation. Is called as consolidation. The process of preparing consolidated financial statement is called as consolidation. It means the output of consolidation, the output of consolidation, the outputs of consolidation outputs of consolidation are basically again consolidated statement of financial position, income statement, equity statement, cash flow statement, notes and disclosures. මේවා තේරෙනවද ලියා ගන්න ඕනේ. So put that the repetitive symbol consolidated statement of income, consolidated financial position, consolidation equity statement, cash flow statement, notes and disclosures. So this is the outcome. Right? Here, as a parent entity, at the point of acquisition, as a parent entity, at the point of acquisition onwards, parent entity at the point of acquisition onwards should prepare the consolidated financial statement. To prepare the consolidated financial statements. Statements. However, a parent entity who are complying with below mentioned four criteria. It is after life yeah. Can get exemption not to do consolidation. Can get exemption not to do consolidation. Do consolidation. Put 1, 2, 3, 4. Right. First one. Ultimate parent or parent. Ultimate parent or its immediate parent should prepare consolidated financial statements and it should be publicly available. Should be available. Available to public or something like that. First one. There's no objection. There's no objection from shareholders. There's no objection from shareholders. It can't be a listed entity. It can't be a listed entity. If third one කිව්වේ හරිද? එතනම ලිව්වද? මේ 1 2 3 4 4 කියන්නේ first one එක මොකද්ද? The parent or ultimate parent should prepare financial statement for public use. Then one, there can't be a for shareholders. Third one, can be a listed entity. In other words, they can't have any public listed publicly trading instrument, debt and equity instrument. You can make it right. Its debt and equity instrument are not traded in public market. In other words, it can't be a listed entity. It means there are any equity or debt instrument can't be traded in Colombo Stock Exchange. Right? And then they should have a plan to list in the stock exchange in near future. They are not having a plan to list in stock exchange near future. If one parent entity can satisfy all above four criteria. It's more important. All above here. All above four criteria. Do not need to prepare consolidated financial statement. Do not need to prepare consolidated financial statements. All above here. All here අකුරට අනිවාර්යෙන්ම color කරලා අරු දාලා තියාගන්න. All above. It should satisfy not only one, all four criteria. Four criteria, right? Okay. Now we know what we are going to do. What are the exceptions we do have? We can jump into consolidation, right? Yeah. Once you are doing consolidation, we may have different scenarios. What are they? First, acquisition of subsidiary. Acquisition of a subsidiary, of a subsidiary. Second, what is that? Disposal of a subsidiary. Disposal of a subsidiary. Right? Third one. Step acquisition. Of a subsidiary. Fourth one. Step disposal of a subsidiary. Fifth one. Sub-subsidiaries. Sixth one. What is that? Foreign subsidiaries. What are they? Acquisition of subsidiary, disposal of a subsidiary, step acquisition, step disposal, sub-subsidiaries, foreign subsidiaries. This is all about what? Consolidation. Wherever you are going, these are the scenarios. Console පුළුවන් වෙනවා කියලා කියන්නේ මේ scenario තේරෙන පුළුවන් වෙනවා. But මෙතන foreign subsidiary you may have disposal. Foreign subsidiary you may have step disposal. Foreign subsidiary acquisition. Foreign subsidiary step acquisition. You may have, right? That's the content of foreign subsidiary. In this syllabus, in financial reporting, I'm covering on these two. Right? I'm covering on these two. Not going to touch step acquisition, step disposals, subsidiaries, and foreign subsidiaries. This will be studied at where? Ethical and corporate reporting. You can again now maybe discuss that. Maybe discuss that. Financial reporting. Right? Now, clear understand. You have a proper plan. Corporate reporting, we will discuss complex consolidation. Complex consolidation can be done. Step acquisition, step disposal, subsidiaries, foreign subsidiaries. Right? What do you mean by these things? Step acquisition, disposal, the words, right? Step acquisition, step disposal, subsidiaries, foreign subsidiaries. You should have a proper understanding and type of a visualization about future earnings. Okay. So whatever the exam is, CCA, CIMA, can be chartered. These are the options. So all targeting the performance. Syllabus if you are comfortable with these scenarios, you can easily go to the whatever exam. Step by step, slowly learn what's happening here. Then you can go to here. But today, you need to understand what's this whole picture, right? I'm discussing here what is acquisition. Acquisition means simple. Getting the control. Getting the control, right? Getting the control. The point you are getting the control, that point onwards you should do the consolidation. You are starting consolidation from where? At the point of acquisition. At the point of acquisition, you are starting your consolidation. Acquisition means you are getting your controlling power. Right? You are getting your controlling power means acquisition. Right? Disposal means you are disposing your controlling power to outside party. This goal, dispose of a subsidiary. Step acquisition means what? Step by step, you are having intention to get that control. You are doing that. First, what you are doing? A company parent, B company subsidiary, not subsidiary, separate entity, right? First, you are investing 5%. What is that? A 5% investment. So, the double entry කොහොමද? Cash credit debit to investment account. Investment account. It is under just the investment. It is under SLFRS 9, financial instrument, equity instrument, right? As the last week lecture, we may have financial asset 3 types: debt, equity, and derivatives. This is the equity investment, right? Equity investment. Then what we are going to do? Expansion or investment taken to what extent? They are purchasing another 20%. Another 20%. Another 20%. Now we are having how much? 5%, 25%, right? 25%. What's the investment? What's the arrangement now? It is a associate. It is associate, right? It is associate. Now we are using case 28. Counting method, equity method, right? Equity method, method accounting method. SLFRS 9, we are having 3 accounting measurement basis. What is that? Fair value through P&L, fair value through OCI, amortized cost. Amortized cost we can't get. Why? The equity investment, cash flow characteristic test and the business model test fail. We are moving fair value through P&L low, fair value through OCI. If it is trading, fair value through P&L. If you are not having any trading purpose, maybe fair value through OCI. Then make a fair value through OCI or fair value through P&L. Make a equity investment, equity accounting. I will teach you how we are going to do equity accounting, right? And they are expanding that to another 25. Right? Then A and B called joint venture or joint operation. Joint venture or joint operation. Joint venture or joint operation we call as joint arrangement. Joint arrangement can be classified into 2. Joint venture or joint operation. Right? If it is a joint venture, what's the accounting method? Same as associate, equity method. If it is a joint operation, 50-50 line by line consolidation. Right? In the economy, the industries, the joint operations are very less. Joint ventures are many joint ventures are there. Right? Joint ventures accounting method is equity method. Still, we didn't come to the session, the topic. Right? Why? මෙතෙන්දී අපිට මොකක්ද තිබුණේ? මෙතෙන්දී තිබුණේ yes the investment. මෙතෙන්දී මොකක්ද තිබුණේ? Significant influence. මෙතෙන්දී මොකක්ද? Joint control. Joint control. Right? It is not fully controlling, joint control. To do the consolidation, we need to wait till getting what? Full control. The day you are getting full control, you are starting your consolidation. Still, you have not started your consolidation. Why? You didn't get the control. Control over what? The full assets of the other organization. But here we are controlling what? Here we are controlling something. Who can control that? Only 5% investment in Vidra, what to control that? Are you agree with me? Why investment of 5%? Ek Vidra, what control? You are having only 5%. You are having only control over 5%. You don't have any control over this remaining 95. Right? Acquisition means what? Acquisition that here the that 50. Again we are getting another 25%. Now how much we are having? 75. At the point of getting 75. Now we are having the control over what? Only 75? No. Over the 100% asset of the company. 100% control karate. Right? At that point onwards, that is the point we are doing consolidation. We are doing consolidation. We want to get the control over the assets. But still, we don't have the ownership of that. Ownership 25% we don't have. But 100% asset we are controlling. Because of that asset definition discussed about, if you are having something, if you are controlling something, it is asset, it's a resource. If it is so, you can recognize that as a your own asset. You don't need to have a ownership, right? So the ownership, it is not a must to recognize asset. It is just a one element to indicate your controlling power. Yes, if you are having full ownership, you are having the control. It is one thing. But sometimes you may not having your 100% ownership. But you are controlling it. If it is so, without having ownership, you can recognize asset in your books. So අනුන්ගේ asset ඔයාගොගෙන් පෙන්වන්න පුළුවන්ද පොතද? පුළුවන් if you are having the control over the asset. Keep remember that. That is a logic you are using for the consolidation. Right? Though you are having 90% ownership, your consolidation 100%. Why? You are having control over the entity. Keep remember that. So, right, that is. Okay. Oh. Right. So, having this acquisition, this by confirming this acquisition point, that point onwards, you need to do the consolidation, right? Right. We have list of our not scenarios, right? Right. Hope you know that now this overall process we call as but step acquisition. Call as step acquisition. Step by step, we are acquiring a company. Step by step, we are getting a control over the organization. Right. That's called step acquisition. Your investment change to associate. Associate change to a joint venture. Joint venture change to a subsidiary. That is called step acquisition. Right? Step by step, you are getting the control. So whatever the arrangement, you are not going to purchase that maybe 100% at the initial time. Neither. ඕනම දෙයකදී එහෙමයි. නේද? මැරි කරන්න යනවා. එකපාරටම 100% acquire කරන්න යන්න එපා. control කරන්න. නේද? ඒකට මොකද වෙන්නේ? parents ලට ටිකක් control කරන්න ඕන. ඒකට step by step තමයි controlling power ගන්න. මුලින්ම 5%. Just invest කරලා බලනවා. If you are okay, then you are investing 20%. So තමයි කියන්නේ නේද? Significant influence. You are not controlling. You are having a significant influence. What can be make a month in the game? What suggestions is there? Then the what can do? If you are wearing white, I'm really like you. No, and I'm having. I like to have short hair. I like to have long hair. So then I can give suggestions on, right? If you're having 20% significant influence, technically you can suggest. I like to see a graduate, so then better to do sub-campus degree. You can suggest. You can't, pressurize and you can't push. If you are having fully control, then what you can do? Yes, you should have short hair. You have to do the sub-campus if you apply the account. There's no any alternative way. You are controlling, right? Parents are කියන මොනව කරන්නද? දැන් ඔයා මෙඩිසින් කරන්න කියලා. ඔයා කියනවා නෑ. ඔයා account chartered accountant කෙනෙක් වෙන්න. So then who's having the control now? You are having the control. So overnight you can't do that. Overnight you can't do that. So step by step you are doing it. It will be very permanent, right? That is called having that fully controlled. They are controlling the asset. After having 75%, again, another 25% you can acquire. Then you can say that, what is this? 100% we are having the control. Control and ownership. This is called what? Fully owned subsidiary. Fully owned subsidiary. It's a subsidiary, fully owned subsidiary. Fully owned subsidiary. Right? Remember this. This process we call as step acquisition. It's a fully owned subsidiary. This is the basic understanding type of the console arrangement. The step disposal means likewise you are having 100% ownership. 100% ownership. So what you are going to do then? You are disposing 10%. How much you are remaining? 90%. Still you are subsidiary. You are selling another 20%. Still you are subsidiary 70%. Right? This is also a disposal. This step disposal. Again you are selling 30%. Remaining in 40%. Now it's associate. Again you are selling another 30%. 10% remaining. It's just an investment. Just an investment. This is called step disposal. Step disposal. Sometimes you are not disposing. You are losing your control. What dispose කරන්නේ? What dispose කරන්නේ නැති වුණාට what control එක නැති වෙනවා. That is called deep disposal. ඒක මෙතෙන්දි කතා කරේ නැහැ. ඒක disposal යටතේ කතා කරන්න පුළුවන්. It's a type of a disposal. Deep disposal. This disposal means you are having the ownership. The company shares, 1,000 shares there. Right? 1,000 shares there. You purchase how much of shares? 750 shares purchased by you. Let's say you purchase all 100,000 shares. 1,000 shares ගන්නවා. So fully owned subsidiary එකක් වන් දෙනවා. හිතනවා fully control කරනවා මේක. Right? Without informing you, they are issuing another 4,000 shares to outsiders. Another 4,000 shares to outsiders. Now, what is your percentage? How many shares you are having in the organization now? 5,000 shares, right? 5,000 out of you are having only 1,000. 20%. Without disposing your shares, if that entity issuing new shares, your share percentage will reduce and your controlling power will be reduced. Right? It is called deep disposal. Okay? Then you are missing your control. Control control Wow, spouse දන්නේ නැතුව ෂෙයාර්ස් ඉෂුව කරනවා. ෂෙයාර් ඉෂුව කරොත් ඔයා දන්නේ නැතුව කන්ට්‍රෝල් එකෙන් ඉස්සෙල්ලා තියෙනවා. ඔයා හිතනවා 100% ෂෙයාර්ස් තියෙනවා පොඩ්. That can be happen. That is called what? Deep disposal. It is very rare, right? It's very rare. But can be happen. So those are the options. But here we are discussing about this too. Remember that. Okay. Now we know step acquisition, step disposal, and what do you mean by sub-subsidiaries? Sub-subsidiaries mean parent having subsidiaries. 1, 2, 3. These two having another set of subsidiaries. 4, 5, 6, 7. 6 having another set of subsidiaries. 8, 9, 10, 11. Right? 8, 9, 10, 11. This is another group. This is another group. We call as sub-subsidiaries. We are consolidating this entity. We consolidate this group. This group called as sub-subsidiaries. These are the subsidiaries. These are sub-subsidiaries. Right? Then sub-subsidiaries. Foreign subsidiary. So whatever the sub-subsidiary or individual subsidiary, you may have foreign entity. How you are going to convert it, right? How we are going to convert? They are doing their presentation currency may be a different currency as per then your LKS 21 knowledge will be applied for this. How we are going to convert foreign operation to a how we have conversion and consolidation. You have understanding about foreign currency conversion. Right? These are the areas you should learn under consolidation. Right? So we'll make a good foundation. You can easily deep dive on these areas. Right? Okay. We are going to discuss the acquisition. Right. Acquisition. Right. consolidation, acquisition. Pre-acquisition and post-acquisition. At the point of acquisition, you need to understand it. At the point of acquisition, the period will be divided into two: pre-acquisition period and post-acquisition period. Right? Pre-acquisition period and post-acquisition period. Pre-acquisition period related entries, post-acquisition period related entries. The period data, that's really important. Have a good knowledge about pre-acquisition period and post-acquisition period. That's very simple. You need to establish the date you are getting the control. The date you are getting the control. The date you are getting the control. The date you are getting the control, before that date, the period we call as pre-acquisition period. After the date, you call as post-acquisition period. Pre-acquisition period and the post-acquisition period. Right? Then, once you are having adjustments in your consolidation, these adjustments will represent these two periods. Another. Wow. Console karna kya anukakde? Line by line consolidation. Right? You are adding your P&L, you are adding your balance sheet, you are adding your cash flow statement, equity statement, and notes. You are adding, right? What we need to do? What a company having P, Q, R subsidiaries. Then what we are going to do? We are going to do consolidation for what? A. A's consolidated financial statement. How many elements you are having? 5 elements. If you are going to prepare the consolidated statement of financial position, how we are going to do that? A company, P company, Q company, R company. What we are going to do then? A company, PPE, A company, cash, A company, inventory, A company, stated capital, liabilities, right? Other liabilities, what you are going to do then? 5,000, 6,000, 2,000, 1,000. What you are going to do here? Consolidation. මොකද කරන්නේ? අපි මේ ටික console එකෙන් මොකද කරන්නේ? add කරලා දානවා. 5,000, 11,000, 13,000, 14,000. 14,000. මේකට කියනවා මොකක්ද කියන්නද? Consolidation කියලා. P&L එකත් ඔහොම කරනවා. This we call as line by line consolidation. You are supposed to do this activity, the exam. How easy that is, right? Is that easy? Yes, that is very easy. Why? Part balance sheet. Half මේ බන්දර එකතු කරලා දාන්න. ඔයාලට Excel ළඟ තියෙනවා නම් මොකද කරන්නේ? හා? දැන් මේ ටික tally වෙනවද මෙහෙම ගත්තොත්? මේ balance එක මේ balance එක tally වෙනවද? මේක බලන්න. Oh, tally වෙනවනේ. ඇයි? මේ balance sheet එකට tally වෙනවනම් මෙතෙන් asset liabilities. මේ balance sheet එක අනිවාර්යෙන් tally වෙනවද? ඔව්. මාර්ග මොකද කරන්න තියෙන්නේ? මෙතෙන්ට formula එකක් දාන්න තියෙන්නේ. sum මේ cell එක මේ cell එක මොකද කරන්නේ? ඊට පස්සේ මෙතන එනවා drop down box එක මේක double click කරනවා. දැන් නෑ. ඒකට මොකද වෙන්නේ? Consolidated financial statement හැදෙනවා පාට. දෙසිනේ ඊට එහා තව කොලම් එකක් තියෙනවා මොකක්ද? මෙතන තියෙනවා තව කොලම් එකක් ඉන්වෙන්ට්. මේකට මොකද කියන්නේ? මේකට කියනවා adjustments කියලා. හරි. අන්න ඒක නිසා ඔයා console එක මොකද කරන්නේ? අර console adjustment නොතිබුණා නම් අර console exam එකේ අහන්නේ නැහැ නේද? like open size financial statements. මෙන්න මේ කොලම් එක නිසා තමයි වා console අමාරු කියන්නේ. එනවා console කරනවා කියලා මොකද කරන්නේ? මෙන්න මේ කොලම් එක finalize කරගන්න. Right. You're focusing about this column. After finishing this column, what we next step is what? You can add these things. So මේ කොලම් එකත් එක්ක formula එකට add කරගන්න පුළුවන් නම් you can finalize this. මේ step එක කරනවා. මෙතෙන්ද formula එක දාලා double click කරනවා. කරන්න ඕන මොකක්ද? මේ cell එකත් add කරගන්න. මේ cell එක add කරන ඉන්ටර්ලීස්. ඒක හැමතැනටම එක ගන්නම් different time. So putting adjustments, it's really difficult. These adjustments can be divided into two. What are they? What are they? These adjustments can be linked to two. What are they? Pre-acquisition adjustment, post-acquisition adjustment. Pre-acquisition and post-acquisition. Right? Once you are having list of adjustments, you should have a proper understanding whether this is a post-acquisition adjustment or pre-acquisition adjustment. Right? Pre-acquisition and the post-acquisition. Okay? Once you are having whatever the consultation, you are having these two type of adjustments. You should have understanding of that. Pre-acquisition and post-acquisition. What may be the number of adjustments? Examiner මොනවද දෙනවද? Pre-acquisition and post-acquisition. මෙතන මොනවද ගොඩක් තියෙන්නේ? Adjustments විදියට. Adjustments විදියට මොනවද තියෙන්නේ? මේ adjustments විදියට තියෙන්නේ එක්කෝ වරදින්න ඕන, එක්කෝ not relevant වෙන්න ඕන. ඒවා අයින් වෙන්න ඕන මේකෙන්. මොනවට අයින් වෙනවද? සාමාන්‍ය intercompany transactions. Intercompany transactions. Why? Intercompany balances. Transactions. You should remove it. Why? Once you are having intercompany as a one entity consolidation, we can't keep it. Are you getting me? Why? The A company having a receivable from B company. To A, it's a receivable. For B, it's a liability. Right? You are in the asset, you are having a receivable in parent. The subsidiary, you are having a liability under current liabilities. Once you are doing a consolidation, once you are coming to this column, you are adding all these assets, you are getting that amount from here. You are getting the liability here. As a one entity, we know we don't have any outside liability, but you are keeping here liability. As a one entity, you don't have any receivable from outside. As a group, why? It's a subsidiary. Okay. Then what we need to do? You need to remove this asset and this liability from the consolidated column. You need to understand that logic. As a one entity, there's no such asset or liability. ඔයාගේ තාත්තා console කරනවා family එක. ඔයාට ණයක් තියෙනවා නම් හිට. You are having asset in your balance sheet. Your sister's balance sheet is a liability. Once your father doing your consolidation, he don't care about this liability and this asset. Why? To him, both are subsidiaries. දෙකම control කරන්න කවුද? Father. Parent will control both. One is his perspective. එයාට මෙයාට liability එකක් තිබුණද නැද්ද කියන එක එයාට අදාළ නැහැ. As a one family, there's no outside receivable or liability. තේරෙනවනේ? වා මේ pocket එකේ දාගෙන රුපියල් 500ක් දාගන්න. මේ pocket එකේ දාගන්න 1000ක්. වා මේ pocket එකට වෙනම count කරනවා නා right pocket to left pocket. වා receivable payable තිබුණට ඒක as a one entity there's no receivable or payable. වා මේ pocket එකේ මේ pocket එකට දාගත්ත කියන වැඩි අඩු වැඩි වෙන්නේ cash. As a group, we need to assume that as a one single entity. If it is so, intercompany transaction should be eliminated from this adjustments. Intercompany transaction plus acquisition related adjustments. Right? එතකොට adjustments විදියට ගොඩාක් කියන්නේ මොනවද? What you are getting? Pre-acquisition no post-acquisition. Pre the post the වැඩිපුර තියෙනවා ඇත්තේ. කාමන්. ඒ කියන්නේ acquire කරගත්තට පස්සේ වැඩිපුර transaction වෙන්නේ කලින්. දැන් වා company එක acquire කරනවා. 80%. Before that, you don't know about that entity. After that, you are having many transactions, right? So your post-acquisition entries may be very high. Number, not the amount, the number. Number of transaction with the subsidiary may be either. After the acquisition, you may have more transaction with the subsidiary. Then you may have post-acquisition transaction may be very high. Post-acquisition entries may be number may be very high. Pre-acquisition, very less, very less. Pre-acquisition, those time we don't have control. Then it's not a subsidiary. After acquisition, only it's a subsidiary. You may have several adjustments. එතකොට examiner want මේක ඇත්තට ආසයි. examiner want acquisition date එක මේ date එකේ දෙන්නේ නැහැ. අද මේ date එක 31st December තමයි year end එක. acquisition date එක මෙන්න මේ date එක මෙදා වුණොත් our balance sheet consolidated financial statement හදන්නේ as at 31st December 2025. What is your period like this? Post acquisition period එක. Post acquisition period එක මේකේ මේ පැත්තේ. අපි financials හදලා ඉවරයි. Pre-acquisition period is this. Right? Within the period, it is not a subsidiary. As at the reporting date, subsidiary. So then financial year, fully it is not a subsidiary. It means it's a pre-acquisition period. So examiner don't have a luxury to give post-acquisition adjustments. Right? So ඔයාගේ question එක adjustment දෙකකින් විතර නවතිනවා. මෙතන period එකෙන් මෙහාට දෙන්න විදියක් නැති වෙනවා. Right? So the acquisition at the reporting date may not be tested in the exam. Why? Examiner may not have a luxury to give post-acquisition entries. Post-acquisition entries. Post-acquisition and pre-acquisition entries. If they what console question එක එන්න පුළුවන් නේද? Times, dates මම කිව්වා කියන්න නේද කියලා. හතරක් තියෙනවා. ඒ acquisition එක වෙන්න පුළුවන්. ප්‍රධානත පාටි year end එකේ වෙන්න පුළුවන්. year එක මැද වෙන්න පුළුවන් acquisition එක. year එකේ first date එකේ වෙන්න පුළුවන්. year එකට කලින් වෙන්න පුළුවන්. right? ඔයා හිතන්නකො 2025 කියලා. 2025 31st December වෙන්න පුළුවන්. June 30th වෙන්න පුළුවන්. 1st Jan 2025 වෙන්න පුළුවන්. 2024 Jan වෙන්න පුළුවන්. මේ පැත්තට ඕන දවසක් දෙන්න පුළුවන්. අවුරුදු 3ක් එහාට දෙන්න. මේක මොකක්ද? Before the year, at the initial date of the year, mid of the year, end of the year. Your acquisition can be happen 4 different scenarios. Okay, 4 different scenarios. එතකොට exam එකේදී මෙහෙම આવොත් කොහොමද? එහෙම આવොත් කොහොමද? exam එක මැදදී excuse කරලා ඉන්න සර්ට තෑග්ගක් දීලා යනවා. එහෙම આવොත් at the year end. Why? You don't have any adjustments, post acquisition adjustment. Goodwill calculation එක විතරයි ගන්න තියෙන්නේ. Hey, post acquisition period එකක් නෑ තාම start කරවල විතරයි. You don't have, after being a subsidiary, you don't have any intercompany transaction. Why? He acquired at the year end. මේකේ first date එකේ නම් මේව කරා. First date again. It's very clear, right? That during the period, whatever the profit, whatever the expenses, you can recognize that as a full period, that as a post-acquisition period. Or depreciation calculate neither. Depreciation calculate. Full year ekadam reversal entry done. Rent expense now 12 months old that. No need to split for months and quarters. Right. Very easy. So first date එකේ දුන්නොත් නේද? ඒකට මොකුත් කියන්න ඕන නැහැ. නියුට්‍රල් ගාන හදන්න පුළුවන්. නේද? ඔයාට year එකේ පොඩක් එහාට දුන්නොත් maybe your year 2025 2024 January you acquire 2 years 1 year back. එතකොට පොඩක් නේද? complicated. Father. year එකට හරි මොනවා හරි adjustment එතකොට pre-acquisition period එක මොකක්ද? එතන අපි හිතමුකෝ first Jan 2024 කියලා 2024 beyond 2024 අද එකක් ඇති. Beyond 2024, we call as pre-acquisition period. Post-acquisition period, what's the post-acquisition period? Post-acquisition period එක parts දෙකක් තියෙනවා. පේනවද? පේනවද? Post-acquisition period එකේ parts දෙකක්. Post-acquisition period එක 1st Jan 2024 to 1st Jan 2025 till the first date of the year. It is not within the financial year. Right? This period, not within the financial period. This period, within the financial period. Post-acquisition period, financial period, 12 months. Now 12 months, post-acquisition period. Right? Then, what if there's an adjustment, reversal, you're doing for this period, current year P&L impact should be split here, and then other part should be adjusted to the return earnings. Are you getting me? But they give. Whatever the adjustments, grade 2 you again to be this error correction, right? Error correction. Have you done it? Error correction I hope you are comfortable with that, right? So once you are tallying with this trial balance, you are getting what? You are confirming the arithmetical accuracy, right? Arithmetical accuracy. So you may have two types of errors in the this TB. What are they? The errors you are discovering, errors you are identifying from the trial balance. From the trial balance. If you are not tallying the trial balance, you can identify errors. But though you are finalizing its tallying, but still you may have errors. What is that? The errors we can't identify from the trial balance. We are having two types, right? එකම එන්ට්‍රිය දෙපාරක් දාලා මේක මේකේ පේනවද? නෑ. මේක tally වෙලා තියෙන්නේ. Right. You are having several errors, right? Once you are completing your error correction, then what is the next step? Next step එක මොකක්ද? මේව දන්නවා. අපේ presumption එක මොකක්ද? මේව grade 2 වල කරලා තියෙන්නේ. Now we pass many A level, advanced level, right? So you know, right, this. Once you are doing error correction, what's the next step? We need to recalculate the profit. Hey, are errors වලින් වෙච්ච impact එක හදලා what we need next step? What's the next step is the profit should be recalculated. Adjusted profit statement එක හදුවද? Adjusted profit statement එක හදුවනේ doing corrections. Then අපි ඒක ගිහිල්ලා ඒ EL එකටම දාන්න ගියාද නැහැ. Now we have finalized the whole profit and statement. Now we are having what? Now we are having current year before correction profit this much. What we identified here through this error correction, what are the P&L credit entries, P&L debit entries? අපි මෙහෙම දාලා ලියමු මත් කරමු. Plus and minus. P&L credit, P&L debit, identify, adjust it, got the final profit, right? Final profit. May profit take කොහටද දැන් කරේ? 50%. Grade 2 වල. ගිහිල්ලා add කරා කොහටද? Retained earnings. Okay. Balance sheet එකේ equity, retained earnings, current year, adjusted profit after error correction. Right? I hope that is clear. It means if you want to put an entry, you can adjust to the return earnings, right? Return earnings. Your electricity expense has been duplicated. How we are going to correct it? Now we find as a return earnings. How we are going to correct it? Are you going to reverse the electricity expense account? No. It is now completed. Now we are adjusting to return earnings, right? Return earnings credit. Why? It is overstated. Debit to maybe electricity payable. That's why you are correcting that entry. එහෙම තමයි correct කරන්නේ. එතකොට අපි ඉතින් adjust කරන්න පුළුවන් chance එකක් තියෙනවා. electricity expense එකට adjust කරලා මේව කරන්න පුළුවන්. return earnings වලට adjust කරන්න පුළුවන්. What return earnings වලට adjust කරන්න පුළුවන් කියන්නේ කොහොමද understand කරගෙන ඉන්නවා. Whatever the adjustment you can do to the return earnings, right? Then once you are coming to consolidation, these adjustments may like that, right? Sometimes you are requesting only the consolidated balance sheet. Then you are having only calculated return earnings. Whatever the P&L entries, you are adjusting to return earnings. If you request, maybe P&L and the balance sheet both. ඔයාගෙන් ඉල්ලනවා මොනවද? console එකේදී P&L consolidated P&L එකයි balance sheet එකයි දෙකම. දැන් මොකද කරන්නේ? එතකොට scenario මම කිව්වේ acquisition 4ක් තියෙන්න පුළුවන්. exam එකේ. types. ඒ acquisition 4 ඔයාගේ exam එකේ ඉල්ලන්න පුළුවන් ಜಾති දෙකක් තියෙනවා. මොකක්ද? P&L plus balance sheet or only the balance sheet. Right? P&L එකත් එක්ක ඉල්ලුවොත් කොහොමද? P&L plus balance sheet ඉල්ලුවොත්. P&L plus balance sheet ඉල්ලුවොත් acquisition එක කරන්නේ 1 year back. 1 year back. Then, if there's an adjustment for depreciation, there's adjustment for depreciation. This is a point you need to get it. There's adjustment for depreciation that will impact to 24 months. Right? 24 months. So 12 months, go to retained earnings. Already done. Right? If it is requested the P&L. Another 12 months, other 12 months go to P&L. Right? And then P&L balance should go to retained earnings then. Right? If it is not requested the P&L ඉල්ලුවේ නැත්නම් මොකද කරන්නේ? 24 months impact in what that? Retained earnings. Are you getting me? Okay. Now we are coming to this scenario. How about this? දැන් මෙතෙන්දී සර් හම්බෙලා gift එකක් දීලා ගියා. මෙතන වුණොත් මොකද වෙන්නේ? වා exam එක මැදදී ICU ගෙනිච්ච කියලා news එකක් එනවා. මොකද වෙලා තියෙන්නේ? Acquisition එක වෙලා තියෙන්නේ accounting period එක මැද. මොකද වෙලා තියෙන්නේ? 30th June වෙලා තියෙන්නේ. එහෙනම් මොකද වෙන්නේ? වාගේ pre acquisition period එක කොහෙද? මේ පැත්තට. post acquisition period එක මොකක්ද? මේ පැත්තට. එතකොට ඔයාට පේනවා හොඳට ඔයාගේ financial year එක කෑලි දෙකකට බෙදලා තියෙනවා. එක කෑල්ලක් pre acquisition period එක අනිත් කෑල්ල මොකටද? post acquisition period. Whatever the entry relate to the for the period should be split to pre acquisition and post acquisition. They are doing P&L here. වාගේ P&L එක හදන්න ඕන consolidated P&L වෙන්නේ. P&L කියන්නේ මොකක්ද? For the period concept එකකට හදන්න. Okay. ඒක දන්නවද? balance sheet එක හදන්නේ කොහොමද? asset. මේ දෙක දන්නේ නැති කට්ටිය කියන්න. P&L is for the period concept, profitability, right? Balance sheet mean asset concept, right? Okay. ඒක තේරෙන්නේ නැද්ද? Okay then. දන්නවා, right? එහෙමනම් after the acquisition, you are doing the balance sheet as at this date. Now, all the balance sheets we can add, no point. But you are preparing the P&L for this period. Then you, after the acquisition only, you need to consider for your the console P&L. This part only added to you. This part not. This part will be considered for your goodwill calculation. So whatever this part should be splitted. There should be a basis to split. If you can assume that all the transactions happen averagely within each and every month, you can use dates as a base. If you have done this acquisition maybe 30th June, you can divide it into 2. Right? So administratively, this will be very difficult managed within the 3 hours. So I'm not planning to give this. Right? I'm not planning to give this. Your question then may be, but the acquisition on the initial date or a year back or maybe some period back. Right? question එකක් දියදී. ඒකේදී ප්‍රශ්නයක් තියෙනවා P&L එක විතරක් ඉල්ලයිද balance sheet with P&L ඉල්ලයි. P&L only P&L ඉල්ලන්නේ. P&L plus balance sheet or balance sheet only. එහෙම කරන්න පුළුවන්. ඔයාලට TB එක දෙන්න පුළුවන්. P&L එක හදන්න. P&L එක හදලා TB එක දෙනවා. ඔයාලට balance sheet එක හදන්න. Can we do it? Yes, can do. With adjustments. If we are having 10 adjustments, then මේ ඉල්ලන තියෙන balance sheet එක විතරයි. ඔයා දැන් මේ adjustment දානකොට P&L එකට එන adjustment depreciation දාලා නැහැ කිව්වොත්. ඔයා ගිහලා ආයෙත් depreciation account එකක් දාගෙනවද? දැන් depreciation නැහැ කිව්වොත් ඔයා මොකටද that is done? Return earnings එකට. Right? Why? Whatever the calculated net profit has been added to return earning here. Right? Then what we are doing this consolidation. If they request to do only balance sheet, what we need to do? We need to adjust whatever the P&L related adjustment to return earnings. Right? That basic understanding should be with you. Okay. Now we are going to do adjustments. Then we go down. They will explain kara. I'm not going to give notes on this. Right? What the don't take up here? They don't know what's that. They have to follow. Like this. The acquisition can be happen. Yeah. The acquisition means acquiring the controlling power for entity. Acquiring a controlling power over the entity. If a company has 80% investment, 80% investment, A is controlling not only its 80%, but also 100% of the assets in the subsidiary. In the subsidiary. If a company has 80% investment, A is controlling not only its 80% but also 100% of asset in the subsidiary. Right? As per the asset definition. Asset definition. Asset definition. A company can recognize whole subsidiary, can recognize whole assets of the subsidiary in parents consolidation. Parents consolidation. Parent consolidation. The date A is getting controlling power. Is called as acquisition date. Acquisition date. Called as acquisition date. This can be එක ලියන්න ඕනේ මේ acquisition date කියන එක ඒක වෙන්න පුළුවන් scenarios හතරක් ලියාගන්න. The acquisition date can be given at the year end, within the year, initial date of the year, before the year. Right. According to the acquisition date, according to the acquisition date, there may be different 4 scenarios. What are they? The acquisition can be happen at the year end, mid of the year, first date of the year, before the year. Right? The period after the acquisition date, the period after the acquisition date and before the acquisition date are called as pre-acquisition period and the post-acquisition period. Before the after the before the acquisition date and after the acquisition, it's called as post-acquisition period and the pre-acquisition period respectively. ඒක බලන්න before කියන ලියුවේ මොකද්ද? දැන් අපි කියන එක තේරෙනවා. sentence එකේ කලින් ලියපු විදිහට හරියට ලියාගෙන දාන්න respectively කියන. ඊට පස්සේ ලියන්න since you are having two different types of adjustments in a consolidated console question. First, pre-acquisition adjustment. Example, goodwill calculation. Second, post-acquisition adjustments. Example, intercompany loans. Intercompany sales with unrealized gain. Intercompany payable receivables. Intercompany PPE disposal. Intercompany dividends. And then intercompany rent. And investment property. අපි investment property කියලා topic එකක් කරන්න ඉන්නේ ඉස්සරහට නේද? කරානේ. Investment property කියන්නේ මොකක්ද? The property we are keeping for investment property means when the investment property කියන්නේ it's a property, right? Property mean rent, yes. Sale of inventory. Rent. Property mean land or building. It's a property, right? Investment property කිව්වේ. අරවල බලන්න purpose දෙකයි. කියන්න බලන්න. Renting purpose and capital appreciation, right? If you are rented out, it's investment property. Okay. The last ones I told, intercompany rent and investment property. Then you can know the parent has given maybe a warehouse or one floor to subsidiary, right? To parent, it is an IP to its individual financial statement. Agree? Right? As a one entity, it has given to renting purpose to outsiders. Right? I agree. Okay. Once you are doing consolidation, once you are thinking as a one entity with parent, have we given from the group any outside friend to outside party? Have we given anything? Then Mulimba parent and subsidiary got parent individual financial statement, it is recognizing IPY. Parent has given a one premises, one property to subsidiary for renting purpose. For parents individual financial statement, it's an IP. Right? Once you are doing consolidation, what's the perception? The parent and subsidiary we think as a one single entity. Right? So දෙන්නෙක් එක්කෙනෙක් විදිහට හිතුවොත් ඔයා දැන් මොකද? දැන් ඔයා recognize කරගන්නවද මේක IP එකක් විදියට? In the group financial statement, it should be classified as PP&E. Why? As a group, it is using for admin purpose. Right? Are you okay? Then what we need to do? We are having a reclassification. ඔයා මොනවද? යාළුවෙක් ඉන්නවා. ඒ යාළුවා ගේ ලෝන් එකක් අරන් තියෙනවා. යාළුවගේ ලෝන් එක අරන් තියෙනවා. අවුරුදු දෙකක් විතර ගිහලා යාළුවා මැරි ගන්නවා. දැන් මොකද වෙන්නේ? ලෝන් එක දැන් ඉබේටම මොකද වෙන්නේ? ලෝන් එකක් නැති වෙනවනේ. තාමත් ලෝන් එක දෙන්න යනවද? එහෙම වෙන්නත් පුළුවන්. But ideally as a කියන සින්දුවක් තියෙන්නේ දැන් දෙන්නෙකු නොවනවා කියන්නේ එක්කෙනෙක් වෙනවනේ. අර දෙන්නෙක් විදිහට හිතපු එක එක්කෙනෙක් වෙනවා. එක්කෙනෙක් වුණාම ලෝන් එක මොකද වෙන්නේ? ලෝන් එක ඉබේටම නැති වෙලා යනවා. නේ? and ඉබේටම නැති වෙලා යනවා. So once you have been a group, previously we assumed that as a investment property. Now we are considering that as a PP&E. Previously we had a loan. Loan එකක් තියෙනවා යාත් එක්ක. Once you are doing consolidation, what do you mean by intercompany loan? We need to remove it. Right? We are having intercompany receivable payable. Once you are arriving with your final balance, it is not a receivable and payable. We need to remove it. Intercompany sales තියෙනවා. මොකද කරන්නේ? Intercompany sales මම විකුණලා තියෙනවා මොකද? ඔයා විකුණනවා ඔයාගේ බෑග් එක සල්ලි නැති නිසා ඔයාගේ බ්‍රදර්ට. සල්ලි තිබුණේම නැහැ බෑග් එක විකුණන මල්ලිට. තාත්තා කන්සෝල් හදනකොට සේල් එකක් රෙකග්නයිස් කරගත්තු වැඩක් තියෙද? නෑ. ගෙදර ඇතුළේම තමයි බෑග් එක තියෙන්නේ. I get it? Because of that, there may be transaction in between subsidiaries and we need to reverse all these things. That's why we are having list of items and under what? Post acquisition entries. Right? We are having many post acquisition entries. Then may give examples that Haryana adjustments, consolidation again. Right? We are having two sets. What are they? Pre-acquisition entries and the post-acquisition entries. Right? Now onwards, each and every entry be familiarized. We get the logic, put the double entry, identify the scenarios. Right? Practice the entry first. On that, understand current entry. Then we'll go to a complex calculation. Right? First step, understood the logic. Second step, understood the entry first. Double entry to Mulimba statement type of consolidation and part. Double entry and T accounts. Right? Put that double entry and identify what's happening. Then you can move to statement type consolidation. Balan natuwa දාන්න පුළුවන් ඊට පස්සේ. Right? Console කටපාඩම් කරන්න යන්න එපා. මෙතනින් මේක දාන්න statement type මුලින් හදන්න යන්න එපා. සමාන ළමයි අපේ console questions කරනකොට T accounts use කරලා ගන්න පුළුවන්. හොඳටම expert වුණාම ඔයාට කරන්න පුළුවන්. කෙලින්ම statement එකකින් calc කරන්න ගන්න පුළුවන්. First we'll practice our T accounts, right? And then we can move to statements. මට මේක තේරුන්නේ නැහැ. My request is we are having two sets of entries. Each and every entry study, right? Then if you are comfortable with the entry, the examiner will change only the number. Intercompany dividend, the dividend percentage and the number. Intercompany PPE sales, PPE sales, the cost, accumulated depreciation, and the gain or loss, PPE. That's it. Depreciation rate. If you are comfortable with entry, it's a matter of calculating. So, be familiar with the entry. The intercompany rent. මොනවද වෙනස් වෙන්න පුළුවන්? Rent, monthly rent එකයි, rent period එකයි. ඊට එහා වෙනස් වෙන්න දෙයක් නැහැ. If you are comfortable with the entry logic. If you are comfortable with the intercompany sales, sales amount and the profit margin and the unrealized gain. That's it. එකම number එක බලන් ඉවිල්ලා paper එකේ හදන්න. Okay. Two parties, whether the parents sold it or subsidiary sold it. You need to identify that aspects as well. That's why I'm telling, practice the scenarios in the adjustments. Right? Now onwards, we are going to do adjustments. Right? දැන් අපි මොකද කරන්න යන්නේ? දැන් අපි මොකද කරන්න යන්නේ? මේ period එකේ console කරනකොට consolidation වල A B C D කියලා ගත්තා. මෙහෙම console කරා යනකොට ඔයාලට මෙහෙම column එකක් හම්බුනවා. ඔන්න මේව චිත්තයන්ට තියාගන්න. Adjustments, right? ඒ adjustments තමයි මම කිව්වේ මොනවද කියලාද? Two types කියලා. Right? Two types, pre-acquisition, post-acquisition. Now we are going to discuss about these intercompany adjustments. Here a topic එක තමයි. Intercompany adjustments. First, goodwill calculation. Right? First, goodwill calculation. Goodwill calculation, right? What do you mean by goodwill? We have learned this. It was illegal case 38 tangible asset. We discuss about goodwill, right? Discuss. As per case 38, internally generated goodwill can't be recognized. Internally generated goodwill can't be recognized. But we can recognize it at the point of acquisition. At the point of acquisition, we are supposed to recognize it. Why we are going to recognize it? Once we are having the period of individual period, we didn't recognize it. Now we are getting a value for that. Then and there we need to recognize it. Okay? Because they will not hear me. So we did the type of operation and maybe 5 years, right? So your quality, your marketing, your brand name having a huge value, right? Internally generated brand name, quality, this maybe reputation, all these things we didn't capitalize, right? We didn't capitalize. We didn't capitalize me. We didn't get that to the books. Simple. මොකද කරේ නැත්තේ අපි? අපි asset එකක් create කරලා return earnings දාගත්තේ නැහැ. Right? We didn't create an intangible asset. හැබැයි ඒකේ earning power එකක් තියෙනවා ඉස්සරහට. Why we didn't recognize that? Why we didn't recognize that? In the intangible assets, වල තියෙන core feature එක. ඒකේ නැහැ. But the intangible assets වල තියෙන core feature එක. හරි. ඊළ බලන්න long term කොටයි. හරි. Identifiable. Whether it's identical, can we identify it separately? Can we sell it separately? Can't. Once you are selling as a whole, as an organization, we can recognize it. Now we are going to sell it as an organization. Then and there we are supposed to calculate it, right? Because of that, it is not our books now. Right? Our book value, net assets value, it not represent that. It means your net assets value mean what? Total asset minus total liabilities. Total asset minus total liabilities. This called net assets. Called net assets, right? The net assets value. This net assets value not represent the intangible assets. Now, the main net assets value is the main විකුණන්නේ. So main net assets ඇතුලේ main total assets ඇතුලේ අපි recognize කරගෙන නැහැ internally generated intangible assets. Because of that, our brand name, our quality, our market share, our reputation, our skillful employees, the unique maybe methodology, unique recipe, unique machines are not included in the balance sheet. Machine එක තියෙන reputation එක. Okay. Then this value not included that, but at the point of selling this to some outsider, they are giving a consideration to this. Maybe you make this 20,000. If you are having this much of value, they may give 50,000 to you for 20,000 assets. For 20,000 net assets, you are getting 50,000. Are they crazy? Why they are giving this much of amount to you for 20,000 net assets? The gap invisible. What is that? 30,000. This is goodwill. Will. This can't be separately identifiable for each and every item, but this is an asset we are having within the organization. It can't be can't be separately identifiable, but there's asset. There's a value now. At that point, we are going to recognize. At that point, we are going to recognize it. At the point of acquisition, right? At the point of acquisition, we are going to recognize the goodwill. Right? How are we going to recognize it then? Now, we interval down. Interval down. Normally, we are having the range 8 to 11 or 11:30. 8 to 11. 8 to 11. අද මේ කතා කරපු එකේ goodwill කතා කරලා ඉවර කරන්න. right? නැත්නම් සේරම delete වෙලා ගියොත්. දැන් අද යනකොට shift delete ගාලා ඔය කොලේ විසික් කරලා ගියොත් සේරම නැති වෙනවා. So we'll fast it and we'll discuss goodwill quickly, right? We'll discuss this standard guidelines later. Right? Standard guideline is called as full goodwill and the proportionate goodwill. The two methods we are calculating. It is a management option as well as LFRS. Once you are going to the US GAAP, it should be full goodwill. Proportionate goodwill prohibited. So, and the IFRS and full life, the LKS format, the two methods we are having, full goodwill and the proportionate goodwill. Right? Now we are going to calculate the goodwill. The simple understanding, right? Simple understanding. The value we are paying excess, we call as goodwill. At the point of selling our organization, maybe you are selling not only 100%, not only 100%. At the point of 80 also you are selling. You are selling means you are selling the control. At that point, the party who are purchasing, calculate the goodwill. They are the people who are recognizing that in the books. Okay. You can understand now. You are selling what? You are selling net assets. Net assets mean total asset minus total liability. In other words, equity plus retained earnings. Shareholders' assets. You are selling. It makes sense, right? You are selling net assets. You are selling net assets. A company selling 80% to B company. A company purchasing, right? Sorry, a company purchasing. What we are going to sell? Net assets. Net assets. Net asset. Traded capital. Retained earnings. Traded capital. Retained earnings. Let's say 5,000, 3,000. How much? 8,000. To purchase how much? 80%. 80%. A paying 9,000. 9,000. Total net assets how much? 8,000. Okay. A paid 9,000 for how much? 80%. The NCI value 20%. How much then? Let's say 500. 500. Take a proportionate 500 the NCI value because they are having only non-controlling set. They don't have controlling power because of the value maybe less. NCI fair value. NCI fair value. The total value is what? 9,500. This is the demand for this net assets. The net assets will be demanding here. 9,500. From 80% from parent this much, 20% 500. The gap is 1,500. We call as goodwill. Call as goodwill. This is the gap. Call as goodwill. Individually, we are not recognizing this 1,500, right? 1,500 will be recognized. Yeah, will be recognized. Will be recognized. Will be recognized. Parents. Household balance sheet. Okay, should be recognized. How we are going to recognize this? This is the calculation. This is a statement, right? Now I am going to do. Now I am going to do double entries. Double entries. Right? Once you are calculating this goodwill, you are preparing a temporary account called what? Cost of control account. Cost of control account. Cost of control account. Acquiring B. Cost of control account is a temporary account. Once you are doing consolidation to calculate goodwill, we are using this account, cost of control account. Right? Once you are preparing cost of control account, parallelly we are preparing this account and goodwill account. Non-controlling interest account and the goodwill account. Right? These are the three key accounts we are doing once you are doing consolidation. Other than that, you may have two other accounts. What are they? Subsidiary retained earnings and consolidated earnings. These are the key five accounts. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 accounts we are doing once you are doing your consolidation. But this question, this area, we have not dealing with this tool. We are dealing with this, right? You are going to identify what are the double entry, how we are going to put this. Once you are doing transaction, maybe electricity expense, the double entry, cash, credit, debit to electricity, right? For 1,500 goodwill, now we are going to calculate and do the double entry. Okay. Now we are going to do that double entry. Okay. So you paid 9,000. You paid 9,000. You paid 9,000. What's the double entry? Once you are paying, obviously cash credit. Cash credit. Once you are paying, your cash going out. Cash credit. Debit to where? Debit to this account. 9,000 cash. In other words, investments. Right? Investments. And then your NCI value. How much? 500. NCI value. NCI is again a liability to consolidated financial statement. So liability is a outside commitment. How much? 500. 500 NCI credit, cost of control. Debit 500 here. NCI fair value. Right? This is the total consideration. Total consideration plus NCI, right? And then traded capital. Normally those are which type of accounts? Credit accounts, right? Traded capital format individual financials. Credit. Inside it is the traded capital credit. Retained earnings credit. එහෙම credit තියෙන accounts වලින් අපි මොකද කරන්නේ? debit කරනවා account. Debit කරලා මෙතන මොකද කරන්නේ? Credit කරනවා. Right? How much? 5,000 stated capital. පස්සේ return earnings 3,000. Right? Return earnings credit දෙන debit කරලා credit කරනවා. Separate individual financials and stated capital කොහොමද තියෙන්නේ? Stated capital, return earnings. How they are having stated capital 5,000, return earning 5,000. Whether 5,000 dollar debit here, credit here. 5,000 debit here, credit here. Right? Now you have two sides in the T account. T account balance current we learned from grade 1 P school, right? Some people. So what we are going to do, the highest side. අපි highest side එක මොකද කරන්නේ? මෙතෙන්ට දානවා. දාලා same number we are putting here. Right? Then we can get the gap. This way. Yeah, 1,500. Sorry, 9,500. 9,500. Then is the excess value. Excess value, what is this? This is an asset, right? Credit here, debit, goodwill account. We can call that as a cost of control. Right? So the main account in the that's the goodwill. Okay. Credit here, debit here. So we are finalizing this NCI accounts and the goodwill account. This will be removed. So don't do that. Line and identify that like that. So the amount calculated like this can be put double entries like this. Okay. So these two accounts not required for this goodwill calculation. So you can put example like this. Here an example. Example. A company acquired 80% stake of B company by paying 9,000 rupees. 9,000 rupees. NCI fair value as at the acquisition date. NCI fair value as at the acquisition date is 500 rupees. ₹500. ₹100. The stated capital and return earnings. Are amounting to 5,000 and 3,000 rupees respectively. Amounting to 5,000 rupees, 3,000 rupees respectively. Calculate the full goodwill as at the reporting date. As at the acquisition date, sorry. As at the acquisition date. Then put that calculation, goodwill calculation, put the heading and then calculate the goodwill. That is called goodwill calculation. This is the goodwill double entries. Put goodwill calculation, calculate like this, and double entries. I have the barcode here. Yeah. Right. That's it for today. Hope this comfortable and you know what's happening. Okay, right? Done. Ever the goodwill calculation. Okay. Well, what happened here? Okay. Now next week we are discussing other adjustment. Next week in that time, what big period I have done coming then me and my CH. If directly in the starting down and again on this board and again mal again ready bear again me and my CH in the pull on the start next week and did it. That's very important. The most important lecture is uh, next week lecture. Maybe the most important lecture in the lecture series. We are discussing each and every adjustments, right? The adjustment නැතුව console හදන්න බෑ. ඔයා මේක නැති වුණොත් ඔයා next corporate reporting subject එකේ adjustment දන්නේ නැති වෙනවා. In detail, we are discussing adjustments. Cost of control account. Cost of control. Cash. Cash or investment. Cash. හොඳට බලා ගන්න ඕනේ. Cash credit debit to here. Once you are paying, right? And then NCI, stated capital, return earnings. Okay, right. It's gonna come out, take garage, right? Right. Hope you are available next week, right? Lectures. Okay. Come next week, right? Again. For the girls. First and last time you are learning maybe console. Then and there, if you are comfortable with console, that's your future, right? Mainly and make them pass and then. Go to the beginning. Accountant කෙනෙක් වෙනවා කියන එක. CFO කෙනෙක් වෙනවා කියන දවසට earn කරන්න. මේ console එකට යන්න. නැත්නම් වාට මොනවා හරි බලාගෙන ඇවිල්ලා මේ දෙහෙට මේක ඉංග්‍රීසි ටිකක් දාගත්තට පස්සේ ලකුණු 10ක් 15ක් ගන්න පුළුවන් concentration එක. Definitely you can get. ඒක නෙවෙයි purpose එක. The logic, entries, everything should be comfortable. Why we are doing it? Right? Console එකක් කරනකොට නේද? ගොඩාක් වැරදි තියෙනවා. So once I'm doing this LOLC consolidation, my training period, right? You can make that scroll more than 150 companies to do the consolidation. It is very difficult, right? Within the period, it will happen all the scenarios. Foreign subsidiaries, acquisition, disposal, step acquisition, sub-subsidiaries, everything in one console, right? If you are expert in consolidation, you can get a very quick job. Once you are going for maybe interview, you are comfortable with consolidation. You can say that I am, type of expert in consolidation. Definitely, that's a job opportunity. This area you can capitalize your strength. Right? What minimum company ka patan pura console hadala marketing. Look what work there. Counts hadana console karana dan. Then start your own firm. Maybe top class consolidation, quick consolidation. Name me got there. Ekata tamai join karani. Neta me exam me kanan by producteka. That now. So because of that, please make sure to come next week. We are discussing all the adjustments.